Whispers of the Dark. In the heart of the savannah, where the baobab trees stood like ancient gnarled sentinels, there was a village that knew the night in a way others had forgotten. The people of Ufari lived by a simple rule. When the last sliver of sun vanished behind the Ngong Hills, you were to be inside your hut, your door sealed with the sacred Mkeka mat.
It's time to go inside. It's getting darker.
The world was no longer theirs. The elders spoke of Kimya, the silence that speaks, a primordial void that existed before the first ancestor drew breath.
The whispers are from our ancestors. They come once in a while for corrections. That's all I can say for now.
It was not evil, they said, but hungry, and it spoke in whispers only the desperate or the damned could hear. Young Kofi, with a scholar's mind nurtured at a distant colonial school, dismissed these tales as the superstitions of a fading generation. He returned to Ufari with a head full of logic and a heart empty of fear.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all today?
We're well, thank you. And you?
On the night of the new moon, when the darkness was absolute, he scoffed at his grandmother's trembling hands as she fastened the Mkeka.
What is it about this ancient philosophy called Whispers of the Dark, which I have been hearing?
There is only air and animal out there, Bibi, he said, his voice loud in the hushed hut. I will prove it. Despite her weeping pleas, he stepped outside.
My son, please don't go outside. It's dangerous.
Let me just see.
The darkness was not mere absence of light. It was a tangible substance, thick and velvety, pressing against his skin. The familiar chorus of crickets and nightbirds was gone. In its place was a profound silence, so heavy it made his ears ring. Then, the whispers began. They did not come from a direction, but from within his own mind, in a language his bones understood, but his mind could not pass. They were not voices, but the echoes of voices, conversations never had, lullabies never sung, confessions never uttered. They spoke of forgotten shame, of hidden desires, of the secret relief that follows a buried grief. Terrified, Kofi turned to flee back inside. But his hut was gone. The village was gone. He stood in an endless, starless plain under a sky of crushed obsidian. The whispers grew louder, coalescing into a single, chilling sentence that looped in his head. We are the stories you chose not to tell. Shapes began to form from the dark.
A human? What does he want?
Not bodies, but silhouettes of absence, darker patches in the dark. They were the unmentioned. The stillborn child whose name was never spoken again. The warrior who fled battle, erased from the songs. The love that broke a family, sealed in silence. They were not ghosts of the dead, but ghosts of the suppressed, given form by the hunger of Kimya. One figure drifted toward him, and Kofi's blood froze. It had his father's proud brow, but the face was a blur of sorrow.
I died like a coward. I want you to be strong.
The whisper that emanated from it was his father's voice, confessing a secret burden of cowardice he had carried to his grave, a truth Kofi's mother had buried with him. The weight of this unknown history pressed on Kofi's chest. Another shape, with his sister's graceful neck, whispered of her secret, simmering resentment toward their family's traditions, a feeling she smothered with a smile. Each unmentioned that glided past poured a forgotten truth into Kofi's soul, not to harm him, but because he was now part of the silence. He had become a vessel for the things his lineage had refused to acknowledge. He fell to his knees, the collective, suffocating truth of generations threatening to unravel his very self. He understood now. The darkness did not kill, it revealed. And in revealing everything a family, a people, had worked so hard to bury, it left you hollow, a living tomb for ancestral secrets. Just as his own mind began to fracture under the torrent, a faint, rhythmic sound pierced the whispers. Thump, thump, thump. It was the steady, powerful beat of the village's sacred drum, the ngoma, being struck by the elder Mwamba back in the world of light. The old man had seen Kofi's defiance and had begun the ancient, exhausting ritual to call back a lost soul from the edge of Kimya. The drumbeat was a thread of sound, a lifeline. Kofi focused on it, using it to stitch his scattered thoughts back together. He began to crawl toward the sound, the whispers now shrieking in frustration, the unmentioned clutching at his ankles with hands of cold shadow. He woke at dawn, curled in the dust at the very center of the village, the mkeka mat from his door lying across his chest. He was drenched in a cold sweat, his throat raw as if from screaming, but he remembered everything. The weight of the unspoken truths sat inside him, a cold stone in his gut. Elder Mwamba looked down at him, his eyes full of pity and grim understanding. You went to a place that is not for the living, Kofi. You listened to the whispers of the dark. Now you must carry what they said. Kofi never scoffed again. He took his place among the villagers, but his eyes were forever haunted. He would sometimes stare into the darkness beyond the firelight, not with fear, but with a dreadful recognition. And on the deepest, quietest nights, the villagers would sometimes hear him speaking softly to the empty air in his hut, giving voice to the whispers trapped within him, trying to ease their hunger before the dark listened for him again. For he knew now that some silences, once broken, can never truly be mended.
We must remember our stories, for they are the roots that ground us.
For more stories, subscribe to Besoni Library on YouTube or Facebook.